Good morning. We'll start design of columns. So one by one we'll go. We'll start with the simplest case and progressively we'll move to more different types of columns. We'll start with axial loading, then one by one uniaxial bending, then biaxial bending, then slender columns may receive an assignment. Okay. So we'll go stepwise. We'll do only 2 problems today. Let's not do too much because it's a Saturday. Okay. So first we'll start with design of axially loaded design and analysis. Okay, design of axially loaded columns. So we'll start with how to find out the capacity, and then we'll move ahead with finding out other things. Okay. So first thing that we'll do, let's say we have a column which is a, well, let me keep it as a rectangular column itself of 50 mm by 600 mm. Length is okay, I can keep up with 4 meters. Okay. Then there's something known as I'll come to this later. Length is 4 meters, and then it has 4 numbers of then M25 AC 500. Okay, and we want to find the design axial compression. Okay, so this is just column details are given, a length is given, a grades of steel and concrete, and the reinforcement is given. So with this we want to find out what is the axial compression capacity of this particular column. Okay. So first thing, any column that is given to you, you should make 2 checks. One check you should make is it a short column? Okay. So a short column check. So basically the limiting criterion is length by actually effective length divided by the least lateral dimension. Okay. So here I have directly given you what is the effective length. I'll tell you how to calculate everything later. Maybe when you come to such a problem, I'll tell you. So effective length is given to you is 4 meters, and we should make sure the length by least lateral dimension. Okay, let me call this as the minimum. Should be less than or equal to 12. Okay, my effective length is 4 meters. Okay, what is my least lateral dimension of the column? As given here.
450 mm.
How much?
450 mm.
450 mm. So basically I make the check. How much does this come? 4000 by 450, how is it? How much is it?
$8.89.
8.8. I think you said 8.8, so I'll just write it. So it's coming 8.8, and this is less than 12. Okay, so therefore, yes, it is a short column. Okay, so only when it is a short column, we can use some of the equations that are given in the code book. So therefore, the first check that we should do is we should do this. Okay, if it does not fall within this criterion, the design procedure is different. It should be designed as a slender column. Okay. Then we want to check the minimum eccentricities. Okay, this is the next thing that you should do. You should do it for 2 directions, x direction and y direction. Okay, so I'll do one by one. Ex minimum. Let me assume that the column is like this. I'll just draw it. Okay, let me say probably this is x and y. Okay, so y dimension is 450 maybe. Can be either way. I just drawn it like this. Okay, and I have 425 mm diameter bars. Since it's a rectangle, it should be at the corners. This is the cross section of my column. Okay. So this check for Ex minimum, I'm going to find out what is the minimum eccentricity that should be considered in both the directions for the column Ex, and this is Ey. So this also formula is given to me in the code book. Basically, it is actual L, not effective L. Actual L. Actual L divided by 500 plus this particular direction dimension. So along this direction, I'll probably say it is. I'll call this as dx, and this is dy, or you can use b and d, whatever nomenclature you want to use, you can use it. Okay, plus dx by 30. Okay, this should be found. Also, what should be found is in the y direction. L by 500 plus dy by 30. So just give me how much these come. So one thing you should remember is whenever you use this formula, L, D, all of those things should be in millimeters. How much do you get for these? $4,000 by 500 is common for both, and then this will be 600 by 30. And this will be 20. 28. Okay, maybe. Then this one.
23.
20.
3.
23 mm. Okay. Fine. So next, what should be done is this should be compared with. It should be compared with 20 mm. Okay, this is a minimum, so we should see which of this is more. So whichever among what you found and 20 mm is more, you should choose that as the eccentricity to be considered. So both are more than 20, so therefore I'll have to use these two. And since I have these two, I have to compare these two values 28 and 23 with 0.04 times that particular dimension. So if it is x direction, I will compare this with 0.05 dx. You can compare this with this. How much is 0.05 times of dx is 600? How much is it?
30.
30. Meaning that this is actually my whatever I found dx minimum. Okay, the ex minimum, which is 28 mm, it's less than 30. So therefore, okay, I can use a formula which is given in the code book. Similarly, I should also try with 0.05 dy. How much is 0.05 dy?
22.5.
20?
2.5.
22.5. So when I actually compare with this, it is slightly exceeding, but since it's almost close, I'll just continue with it. So E by minimum, it's almost, no, it's 23, this 20.5, it's almost equal to that. Okay. So I will with a bit of judgment say that finally it's okay. Let me not bother too much for a 0.5 mm difference of eccentricity. Okay. But strictly speaking, it should have been lesser. But since it's only a minor part, if it was 5 mm or more, then I cannot do this. I should actually be avoiding such a situation. Okay. So because of this, I say my column dimensions are wide enough to use my IS 456 axial compression equation. column dimensions are wide enough, or alternatively, it's also, I can also say that eccentricities are small enough. Okay, either eccentricities are small enough or column dimensions are wide enough, both mean the same thing. So therefore, I can use the code equation can be used. So that code equation is nothing but PU equals 0.4 times FCK times AG minus area of the steel, okay, plus 0.067, sorry, not 0.67, just 67, 0.67 times Fy into ASC. Okay, so basically this formula has two parts. One is the strength offered by concrete, and this is the strength by the reinforcement. Okay, that's why here you have total area of concrete minus the area of reinforcement, which is coming into this picture. Okay, so anyway, all these things are there for me. Okay, so I can just use this formula and I can be able to find it out. 0.4, FCK I said is 25, AG is 450 by 600. ASEs I have four numbers of how much 25 diameter bars. 4 into pi into 25 square by 4. So this is that part. Then 0.67, grade of steel is 500 into 500 into 4 into pi into 25 square by 4. So just evaluate this.
The 3.337 into 10 to the power 6.
That means it's about correct.
So 333 33370.
333 or 333
70.
no, it's 3.37 into 10 power 6, no?
So 3.337.
3.337, okay. Okay, others also check if you get around 3,337 or 3,300 kilonewtons. Okay, so this is if you're given a column, this is how you just make a certain checks, and then you can just see. Basically, you just want to find the capacity. To find the capacity, you have this equation, but before you go ahead with using this equation, you just want to check whether you can actually use that equation for the given problem. And these two checks are the checks that you need to make before you can decide whether to use this or not. Okay, so that's why those steps are done, and then using the formula is very simple. Since it's axial compression, there is no neutral axis, and there's no business of finding XU or anything. There's no concept of under reinforced or over reinforced. Nothing comes, no balanced. It's just simple axial compression. Okay, so basically you're just using the same form which you would have learned in strength of you people did about mechanics of solids, no? Composite bars. Okay, so you would have given a composite bar and then some forces applied on it. How much force can be applied or how much stress can be applied? So you've done such problems. It's basically just the same concept You are considering this reinforced column, concrete column as a composite bar or a composite column. Okay. So strictly speaking, composite column means it is different in terms of design aspect, but just to compare it with what you already learned, I just said that it's similar to what you did previously in mechanics of solids. Okay. So second problem, the same thing. Now we'll just do a design problem. Okay. So my thing is I have to resist actual load of P equals about 2 tons, 200 tons. Sorry. I can say 200 tons. Usually for columns and all, when they give the capacity or the loads, they will give it in tons many times. So you should know how to convert from tons to newtons. How do you convert from how much? 1 ton equals how much newtons? Any idea? How much newtons do you think 1 ton is?
10 power 4.
How much?
10 power 4.
10,000 exactly. So 10,000 newtons are 10 kilonewtons. So when I had to say 200 tons, it's into 10. So therefore 2,000 kilonewtons. Okay, this is the load that I need to do. And I am giving once again giving directly the effective. I'll give the overall length is 3 meters, and I say it's actually I think I should show this in the code book later. My effective length factor. I'll come to what this is maybe next class probably. Factor is 1.0. Okay. So this is all that's given. Of course, my grades will be given M20 and what we have FE415. So these are the grades. Now only this will be given. You need to decide everything else: dimensions, reinforcement, ties, everything. So whenever given such a problem, best thing is if you do not know like how much to give for dimensions of the column, you need to assume it. Okay, easiest thing to do is based on some guesses, assume how much dimensions you should give for the column. Okay, so whenever you are given only axial load, a good thing to do is to make it a square or a circle. Okay, if it's usually only for axial loading with bending, they try to make it as a rectangle. For purely axial loads, a very nice thing to do is to use a square column or a rectangular column. Okay, so therefore I am going to make it a square. Okay, so let's assume a square. Assume square. Let's not say assume. Let's use a square column. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide or assume dimensions. Assume the dimensions to be 500 by 500. Okay, this I do not know. I need to see whether it's enough or not. Okay. The next steps are all similar to what you saw before. So you need to do the short column check. Okay, which is LE divided by least lateral dimension. Here it's a square, so both are same. So what is this LE is the overall length times the effective length factor. So here it is given as 1. So usually the symbol for effective length factor is small k. Okay. So k into L0 by d minimum. So in this case, k is 1, L0 is 3 meters, d minimum is 500. So how much do you get for? What do you get the short column value?
6.
6. You get 6, which is less than 12. So therefore, it is a short column. Of course, again you have to do the eccentricity check as well. Okay, so I have Ex minimum to be L. Here you should use overall length, not the effective length. For eccentricity, it should be the overall length. Plus, I'll just use D because both are same. This also fine, this also fine. I don't want to use minimum or X or Y. Okay, L0 by 30. So since this is a square column, this will be equal to EY minimum also. So how much is this? How much do you get eccentricity value?
22.67.
22.67, okay, 22.7, which is greater than 20 mm. So therefore, what I should consider is the bigger one. And I should check whether the bigger one is lesser than 0.05 times the lateral dimension. So 0.05 times D is, how much is this?
25.
25. Okay, so therefore I have my Ex min, or let me just say E minimum, both are same, no? E minimum or lesser than this 25. So therefore it's okay, meaning the eccentricities are small enough or the column dimensions are wide enough. Okay, so all these checks have been done. Now I need to proceed to my design. So my actual load is 2000 kilonewton. So my factor load is how much? How much is my factor load then?
3,000.
3000, basically 1.5 times. Okay, I have not specified whether it is dead or live or wind or anything. So if it's nothing is specified to it, you just take 1.5 as the factor. Okay. So these things are there. My column dimensions are there. So now I just use the same formula. PU equals 0.4 FCK AG minus ASC plus 0.67 into Fy into AC. Now, if you look at this formula, I know a few things. I know this is 3000. Okay, just found out. This is, I have 20 and 415. Okay. So this is 20. This is 500 into 500. ASC, I have to find out. This is 415. Yeah, so this ASC I have to find out. So I just use this formula, find out how much ASC I should give. Determine ASC, then we'll see.
Sir, 3703.
3703, okay. Others, you get 3703.
Yes, sir.
Getting, okay, fine. So now I need to place reinforcements. I am not going to say, I'm not telling the diameter yet. But one thing you should notice is if I look at my column, it's a square. Okay. And it's having overall dimensions 500 by 500. So what happens is if I even if I consider the cover and if I give only 4 corner bars, okay, then if I give only 4 corner bars, then the spacing will be actually greater than 300. The spacing between the bars will become more than 300. So therefore, this is not allowed. You cannot give such a spacing between the bars to be more than 300. That cannot be given. So therefore, instead of making 4 corner bars, I will have to compulsorily I will need bars in the middle. Okay, compulsorily I have to keep bars in the middle. So if I keep 4 corner bars and then 4 middle bars, what is the total number of bars that I will have to keep?
8.
I need about 8 bars. Okay, so about 8 bars may be needed. So yeah, you can do this in any combination. It is up to you. Okay, there's no big restriction, except that if you're going to use 2 different sizes of bars, then make the corner bars bigger. And the middle bars you can take smaller bars if you choose to use different diameter of bars. Otherwise, just give the same diameter for all the 8. Okay, so let's see 8 bars. So meaning that how much? So this total needed is 3703, and I'm going to give 8. So therefore, 1 bar, how much area do I need approximately? How much would I need from 1 bar? 3703 by 8, how much?
463.
463. Okay, so I should choose a diameter of bar such that its area of cross section is more than 463. Okay, so I know that one 25 diameter bar gives me about 490 mm square. Okay, so therefore let me go ahead with using 8 numbers of 490 mm bars. Okay, so we'll use 8 numbers of 25 mm bars. 25 at corners and mid faces. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use. 25 mm diameter bars. I'm giving the same diameter, all of it. Okay, so these are my main bars. Of course, you have to maintain the clear cover and those things. So here I have shown like it is clear cover is not there, but you should give a clear cover. Okay, so this is you can do. So it's not ours. We still have to give the ties. Okay, so this is a square column. We cannot give spirals. We can give only separate ties. So there are conditions for giving the ties. So the diameter of the tie should be greater than diameter of the main reinforcement by 4, and it should also be greater than 6 mm. Okay, so I minus what is it? It's a my 5/4 is coming. 25/4 is about 6.25. Okay, so I should use a minimum of 6.25 mm for the diameter of the tie. I do not have 6.25 mm bars. What is the next diameter after 6?
8 mm bars.
8 mm are available. So you can use 8 mm ties. Okay, and spacing is also the restriction is there. Spacing should be lesser than 2 things. It should be lesser than 16 times the actual diameter of the bar that you have, and it's also be lesser than 300 mm. Okay, whichever is the least of this, your spacing should not exceed it. Okay, so how much is 16 times of the diameter of the main bar?
So 400.
400 mm. So therefore, I should make sure my ties are spaced at 300 center to center. Okay, so in cross section it will look like this. Okay. So here by giving the tie is a bit difficult because I have to cover everything. So I give a tie like this. Sorry for a bad drawing. Of course, this. So just like what you do for stirrups, it should be hooked. Okay. And this is just hanging. If you don't do something about this mid-face parts, it won't hold in place. So therefore, you will have to actually connect these bars as well. Otherwise, they won't stay in place. So this is one option. Okay, this is probably the best option to use. Okay, so you can give ties like this, and when you view the same column in plan, so you'll be viewing something like this. So I'm viewing elevation, not in plan. This is the plan cross section. So I have bars here. I have bars. These bars. And I have these ties at 800 mm spacing. So these ties will be there present at 300 mm spacings. Okay. So maybe to make the bar, I'll show it in a bit solid. You don't have to show the shading and all. For your understanding right now, I'm showing that's it. In introvert detailing, you should not do this shading and all. Just to make a difference, I'm showing it. So anyway, so these are 8 numbers 25.5. These are 8.5 at 300 center to center. Same thing. And these are okay. So this is how it will look in that way. Okay, so next we can look at one more thing, which is a different one. It's a circular. We'll make a circular column for the same thing. Okay, okay, we'll use something different. So my actual load is 400. Sorry, 1,500 kilonewton, and this is factored. Okay. Factored load, L0 3.4, effective length factor is 1 again, M25 and Fe415. So it's a similar problem, except that this time we want to use we want to make it circular. Let's try with a circular column. So again, short column check. Okay, I'm not writing anything. Just tell me whether it satisfies a short column check and what ratio you get. Does it satisfy short column check? And what is the number that you get?
So for circular, then what we have to take, sir? Like as a dimension, L by 2.
Oh, we have dimension. I'm not. Let's assume use circular column of diameter 400 mm. Okay, then yeah. So now give me the chart column check.
It is short column, sir.
How much do you, what number do you get for that ratio?
8.5.
Okay, so it's 8.5 coming less than 12. Fine. Then we go with eccentricity check. This also I'm not doing. You can tell me what you get. Whether you get 20 mm or something more than 20 mm. So you will get one answer for this check, and you will compare it with 20 mm and see which is bigger. So tell me what you get for that. Result of L by 500 plus D by 30, what is it?
20.13.
20.13 mm, which is literally it is 20 mm, practically speaking. So with my dimension check, 0.05 D is how much?
20.
Same 20, and so therefore E is it's almost equal to the same 0.05 D. So therefore, okay. Now we can try to proceed with finding out our thing. Okay. Only thing what I'll do here is I'm going to make I'm going to use spiral reinforcement instead of separate ones. Okay. So therefore, when I decide to use spiral reinforcement, I can actually increase my TU a little bit. Okay. So I can increase it by about 5%. So therefore, my formula becomes 1.05 times whatever you had before. 0.4 FCK into AG minus ASC plus 0.67 FY ASC. Okay, the same formula. So here everything FCK is 25. Gross area it's a square, sorry, it's a circle. So therefore pi into 400 square by 4. Okay, ASC you have to find. This is 415. Okay, and this is it's given as factor load itself. So therefore this is 1500 into 10 per 3. So this gives me ASC equals how much? ASC.
So 644.
644. So hope others get 644 as well. Okay. So this answer 644 is telling me one thing. It appears like a very small value. Okay, you compare what we had in the last problem, we got about 3700 mm square required. Here we're getting only 1/6 of it. So this tells us that for this particular load, we needed actually giving such a big column at all. Okay, 400 mm diameter. We could have actually given much 300 mm or something smaller diameter we could have given. But if I do that, if I give a smaller diameter, then for this height of column, I will violate the eccentricity condition. For 400 mm itself, it is just about equal to 0.05 D. So if you had given 300 mm diameter, then this ratio of 0.05 D, that would become 15 mm. Okay, and you may have violated this condition. So therefore, so even though for the load I do not need such a wide column, if I don't make it that wide, then for this particular load, then for this eccentricity, I would actually be violating it, and you need to consider the moments and all. So for that simplicity alone, we actually retain it as 400 mm. Anyway, this looks very small, so I want to make sure that I have given the minimum that I'm supposed to give according to the code. So according to the code book, the minimum compression steel that you're supposed to give in a column is 0.8% of Ag. Okay, which is about 0.8 into whatever gross area you got, that divided by 100. How much is the minimum that you get in that case? 0.8% of 5 into 400 squared by 4. How much is it? How much is the minimum you get?
1,005.
1,000? 1,000 how much?
5.
1,005.
Right.
Okay. Okay, maybe 1,500 mm square. So therefore I cannot give this. This is more, so I should give at least this much reinforcement, because this what I got for the particular load is coming lesser than what I'm supposed to give as a minimum percentage of reinforcement for a column. So I have to adopt this, and it's a circular column. So therefore, how many bars do you need?
Minimum 6.
Minimum 6 bars are needed. Okay, because it's circular. So I'll use a 12 mm bar, which gives me about 201 mm square. Okay, so therefore my total ASC will actually become 201 times 6, which is 1,206 mm square. Meaning the capacity of this will be even more than that case. Okay, so anyway, that's fine. Unlike one good thing about axial load column is, in a beam, you calculate the required amount of reinforcement. What prevents you from giving a much greater amount of reinforcement than what you require in a beam? Why you don't lavishly give reinforcement in a beam?
Because it will make it over reinforced.
It's over reinforced. So that problem is there with respect to beam. So whatever you calculate, and you give something more than what you require, you should make sure that it does not exceed the limiting percentage of steel in a beam. Here there is no such problem. Okay, in a column. Okay, so ASC is found, but only thing is, now I have done this 1.05. If I want to use that, I have to make some conditions with respect to the spiral reinforcement, which says that the volume ratio of the spiral reinforcement given by rho, okay, that should be greater than or equal to 0.36 times Ag by AC minus 1 into FCK by Fy. So there are some terms in Ag, you know what it is. AC is the core area. Okay, meaning that if you have a circular column and you have the spiral reinforcement going around it, the area within this portion, within this circle, that is the core area. Okay, so let us assume 6 mm diameter for spiral tie. So therefore the core area becomes, I'll actually write it by myself because I'm out of time. Okay, so I'll not ask you to calculate it now. So the core diameter is the overall diameter, which is 400, minus this clear cover. Okay, clear cover for column should be about 40. Okay, so 2 into 40. Okay, this is about 320 mm. Then I calculate the volume of spiral reinforcement. Okay, so how do I calculate this? I need to know if I view this column in elevation. I'm sorry, it's not looking like a straight column. So my spiral reinforcement will come like this. Okay, etc. So here my main bars will be over here. Okay, so this volume contained within, say within this portion, I want to know how much volume of the spiral is there. Okay, so basically to find out that volume of the spiral, I just take area of the tie bar, okay, into perimeter of the spiral, okay, or sorry, circumference of spiral. Okay, so area of whatever bar is used, then this circumference of the spiral, okay, that divided by the spacing of the spiral. Okay, so this will give me the volume of the spiral reinforcement. So area of tie bar is pi into 6 square by 4 because it's a 6 mm bar. Then the circumference is pi into, I have 320 minus 6 because 6 mm and 320 is the, I mean it's the outer part of the spiral. So pi into and 6 is the diameter. Okay, so pi into 320 minus 6 divided by spacing. Spacing I do not know. This is what the spacing is what I'm going to find. Okay, so this comes about 0.3418 divided by spacing of the IST, and then I need to make sure this condition is has to be satisfied by that particular thing. Okay, so therefore, 0.3468, not 18. Okay, so this 0.3468 by ST should be greater than or equal to 0.36. Okay, a gross area is pi into 400 square by 4. Core area, which is 320 mm of diameter, is nothing but pi into 320 square by 4. So this ratio -1 into FCK is 25, Fy is 415. Okay, so if I solve this equation, I end up getting ST should be, lesser than, not greater than. Should be lesser than or equal to 28.4 mm. It's actually a very small spacing. Okay. So probably if I had used a larger diameter bar, I could have increased the spacing. So this is what I get, and there are also some further conditions that need to be satisfied. If you give more spacing than this, then you cannot use the 1.0 by advantage. So also spacing of tie bar should in general be lesser than 75 mm. It should also be lesser than core diameter by 6. Okay. And there are also restrictions on the minimum spacing that you have to satisfy. ST should be greater than, meaning ST should not fall below 25 mm. So that condition is also there. It should also not fall below 3 times the diameter of the tie. Okay, so this is 25. This is 3 times 6, which is 18 mm. So I have to make sure that the spacing which I obtained falls within these ranges. So this 28.4 mm is less than 75. Core diameter is 320 by 6, which is about 320 by 6 na 320 by 6 is 53.3. So it's lesser than this also. It's greater than 25 mm. It's also greater than 18 mm. So therefore I can use this. Okay. So my final arrangement looks like, again, a pretty poor circle. So 6 diameter bars, 6 bars of 2, 3, 4, maybe one. Slightly adjust the spacing. Okay, 6 equidistant bars I give, and I give the spiral reinforcement. I use a different color for it. Okay. And in elevation, usually you won't need to draw elevation. Just for your understanding, I'm drawing it. So 1 bar. So basically, it's 6 bars I'm just showing over here. And the spiral reinforcement will actually be going spirally. It will go, turn. Okay. So these are 6 numbers of diameter button, 12 mm bar. Okay. And this is 6.5 with I write as 28 center to center spiral. Okay. So this is 28 mm, 6 diameter bar, 12 diameter bar, 6 numbers. Okay, so that's it.
No need to draw bend, sir. Bend of the reinforcement in the tire.
Because it's a spiral. Because it's a spiral, no.
Okay.
Because it's a spiral, you don't need it. If it's a separate tie in a square column, you will have to draw that. That hook you're asking, no.
Yes, sir.
In this for spiral, you don't need to draw it. Okay, and by the way, I think I made a mistake. 16 mm bar only is 201, not 12 mm bar. This is actually 16 mm bar, not 12. 12 mm is 113 or something. Okay, anyway, yeah, so that's it. What is this correction?
Sir,
Yeah.
so like the volume of you found of spiral reinforcement. So like what does it signify? The area it covers, or like the units are not matching in the volume, sir? Like meter square it's coming.
Yeah, it's the volume of the spiral. It's like the average volume of the spiral as you go along the length of the column.
Okay, so like
It's not
it's like
it's just
it's showing the area it covers over the whole depth.
yeah, some representation of it. Because the length of the column is different for different columns. So in an average sense, like per unit length of the column or something like that, how much volume of the spiral you have within that. Okay, within the core of that column.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so anyway, this I'll stop. So Tuesday we'll do some further problems like uniaxial bending, etc. using SP16. Okay, so with this I'll stop. Okay, bye. Have a good weekend. We'll meet again on Tuesday.